All right, boys. Let's check out box cake versus scratch cake. Why bakers can't beat science? Apparently, you can't beat them. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Let's go. What's happening, my boy? Wait a second. Let's just cut off this music here, and we can get going. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go.
Skillshare. Boxed cake mixes have characteristics that we simply cannot recreate here in the home kitchen using conventional ingredients.
Okay.
Why is that the case?
You saying
how does it affect the finished
the
baked
factory's
results?
better than my mom's cooking? Is that it?
Bake the same cake two ways. We're going to talk to a scientist about the surprisingly sophisticated contents of this box, and we'll interrogate the philosophical questions raised by all of this, including what's the point of making anything from scratch? Field trip to the Mill Hill Community
yeah,
Arts
that's a
Center
good question,
in Macon,
man.
Georgia, where the
If you think about it, if you could just make it better in a factory, man, why bake it at home? I mean, to be fair, right? If you have a bakery like these guys, why bother making it in a bakery? Just buy a box and make it there. It's like, is that cheating though? Is that cheating? Lies? Let's see.
Is run by my friend Adriana Horton. It's a low-cost shared kitchen space for indie bakers who have their own respective businesses. Adriana's business is the Oh Honey.
Robots can't add love. We'll see. Let's see what the science say.
Baking company, and she makes my favorite cake, which is a cookies and cream cake. First,
what's your guys' favorite cake? Cookies and cream cake? Okay, you know what? It's a respectable cake. I like any cake with chocolate in it. I'm a chocolate cake guy. I like chocolate in my cake. I don't like fruit in my cake. I wouldn't eat a cake with fruit in it. I like a cake with cheese in it. Hence the cheesecake love. Let's go on.
She's gonna make it from her favorite box.
Okay,
mix.
and there.
One chocolate and one vanilla.
She's making it from a box. There you go.
To make an Oreo cake. Dunkin' is my main squeeze. It's just
Her main squeeze is Dunkin'.
the most consistent, and it tastes less like chemicals.
You just mix in some eggs, water, and oil.
I really like to whip my batter.
Eggs, water, and oil?
People say that you can overmix.
But this whipping stage, which the instructions
You
tell
like
you
the
to
cake?
do, is absolutely key, especially for boxed mixes.
Don't forget, boys, whip them cakes. So they're saying you gotta whip it. You gotta whip your cake. You gotta do it. I like the cake, coffee, and walnut cake. You know what? I like coffee donuts. I don't think I've ever tried a coffee cake though. Strawberry ghetto cake is awesome. Nah, get out of here. Get out of my house, dude. Strawberry, yeah. Any fruits and no. Date walnut cake is awesome. You guys don't know what you're talking about, man. Chocolate or cheesecake, man. That's the real stuff.
Professor of bakery science at Kansas State University.
So in order to get the cake to rise and to have a nice crumb grain, it's critical to get air into that batter during mixing.
You gotta make it
That's the only
floofy.
place it comes from.
You gotta get the
A lot
fluff
of
in,
people
boys.
think that the chemical leavening, like your baking powder or baking
Fruit
soda,
hater? Dude, listen, man. Fruit, like, no, man. I'm not a fruit hater. I'm just a realist, man. Fruit is just not, it's not a thing. All right? It's not a thing. It's like, oh, man, you need a bunch of fruit every day. You need to eat your fruit. You need to 3-piece, 5-piece. No. What are you talking about, man? You guys, whoever lives in, if you guys live in Europe or you guys live in somewhere like a desert region, where are you going to get that fruit from, man? You're just going to wake up, I'm going to eat my banana. What? Where are you going to get fruit from, man? Are you serious? If you don't live in an area of the world where there's fruit 24/7, most people don't live in those areas, okay? All right? Where you going to get your strawberry? Where you going to get your fresh oranges and shit in the middle of winter in Northern Europe, okay? Just calm down, all right? You know where you're going to get your vitamins from, boy? Meat, okay? That's the real shit. That's the big dog. All right, that's the dog. That's a big dog, baby. Okay, don't tell me no fruit, dude. Average fruit hater versus the average banana enjoyer. Get out. Don't let me start on bananas, dude. Beef loaf, pretty nice. What? And discussing the necessity of fruit. We're discussing the tastiness of it. All right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. Let's keep going.
Makes the air bubbles. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It doesn't even pop up there for me, Grim, to read it. I don't know what you just said.
Dr. Miller says this chemical reaction merely makes CO2, which inflates existing air bubbles. When you bake a cake from scratch, there's often a stage called creaming, where you beat solid fat to create air bubbles.
If you beat solid fat, you create air, but you make that cream.
But with a box, the solid fat, shortening in this case, is already mixed in there.
Okay.
So there can be no creaming stage. The contents
of man, the creaming stage is important, dude. Or is it?
Formulated to be whipped in their entirety without going tough, the way that potentially a cake
I was joking about
made from scratch could
eating bananas. Or
mix it. If your boxed cakes aren't coming out well, Dr. Miller suspects it's because you're not following the instructions that tell you to beat the batter for a good 2.
Boys, you know that I have an oven now. I do. I have an oven. I can make like cakes, man. I should get myself box cake. I'm an adult. I can have cake whenever I want. How come I never thought, man? Let me just eat a cake, right? You know what? Maybe because I never had a cake deficiency in my life, honestly. Because when I grew up, my mom made cake all the time. There was always a cake. She almost baked every day, dude. There was cake every day. And maybe that's why I'm not a big fan of cake. I'm like, whatever, man. I don't want cake. Get out of my face. Give me a cheeseburger. Hating? You like the cream? Yeah, you know. You tell me you don't like the cream, man. You gonna eat some cake on stream? Maybe I will, man. Maybe I'm that fancy. I'll eat cake on stream. Company in the world, Sarali,
get everything incorporated.
Pound cake,
continued mixing.
The chocolate one. Oh man, that stuff is gold, dude. We have this. I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing. If you have it, if you can go buy like frozen pound cake, that shit is gold, dude. That's so good.
It breaks the bubbles that are incorporated into smaller sized bubbles. So
okay.
You get more bubbles that are smaller in size.
Ah.
And a nice fine uniform grain.
I don't have a beater though. I mean, I have my hand, but I don't have a machine.
And these are the mix cakes, and you can really see.
You know what I'm saying?
Because the mix cakes are so smooth and perfect.
Ooh.
And the scratch cakes have bubbles and more like a crust and cracks on top of it.
So the cakes on top are the ones that made from the box. The ones on the bottom are homemade. But what about the taste, though? What about the taste? That's important.
All decorated? Well, you can see how soft the box cake is, and it tastes very sweet. Too sweet to my taste. Now here's the scratch cake.
It's not as fluffy, but it has more of a body to it.
But the love. What about the love, boys? Does it have love? I even said that you eat cake with a fork or other and then goes in whole. I mean, depends on the cake. Some cake you can grab it with your hand. Some cake you can't, man. You need a fork, man. I mean, a good cake is a cake you can't eat with your hands. That's what I think. I mean, you can, but you just ruin the texture. If you make Titles 3, making some cake, either make some actual cake or leg day.
I would go so far as to call the chocolate version of Adriana's scratch cake clearly superior to the chocolate box cake. It's just
okay, so he's saying that the one that she makes is superior. All right, let's keep hearing.
Fudgier, richer,
it's
more
fudgy
substantial.
But the softness of the white cake from the mix is just like incomparable. Box cake is very sweet, but the soft consistency is definitely a win for science.
Okay.
Because you can't recreate that with a...
You saying the box is soft?
scratch cake at all. It's just impossible.
Just send it here on the send it here on the chat, man, so I can open it.
The emulsifiers that are in this
Oh, did
box,
you send it? Did you send it on Discord, dude? Where did you send it? Oh, it is in Discord. Okay, we'll check it out after this video.
There's the fats that are in this box and specifically how they're integrated into the rest of the mixture.
Okay.
And then there's the kind of flour. We'll start with the first thing, the emulsifiers. An emulsifier is any ingredient that allows 2 or more liquids to mix together and stay mixed together, even if they don't want to. The big example would be oil and water. They kind of reject each other on a chemical level. I can smush them together with brute force, but this mixture is unstable.
Yeah, they're just gonna dissolve. Yeah, they're gonna separate.
Now, if I mix in an egg yolk, I can get a smooth and stable emulsion. Egg yolks contain lecithin, a molecule that can.
Is that why people add eggs? Is that why people add eggs to the?
Join up. With
it's an emulsifier.
And fat on the other end, and there, it's the bond between the two warring camps.
Lecithin.
The high-tech emulsifiers
the more you know, boy.
in this box allow the batter to hold on to more water and oil than it normally could.
Okay.
They'll get you a more moist texture, and crucially, the emulsifiers allow the batter to hold on to more bubbles that would otherwise just pop.
So in your commercial cake mix, it has the right type of.
That's why you have to add that egg, boys. Or otherwise the cake's not gonna come out right.
But it helps hold the air bubbles in the.
He made a video about that?
Water phase of the
nice.
batter. But when you are making it at home, you don't have those specific type of emulsifiers available.
We do have some options in here,
so,
for example, egg yolks.
Wait a sec. You saying they're using different kind of emulsifiers that are not eggs?
In the air to be, the air is going to be trapped, but it helps hold the air bubbles in the aqueous or water.
All right, Grandma. I'll catch you later, man.
But when you are making it at home, you don't have those specific types.
Okay. Yo, Twitch and Doge in the house. What's happening, my dude?
Some options in here. For
what's your favorite cake, man?
That's why recipes for particularly rich and moist cakes often call for extra egg yolks. It's for the emulsifiers that they have. Dr. Miller says you can also look for shortening that has some of these more high-tech emulsifiers in it.
Not to advertise for Crisco, but that's what we have here. And it will say on there that it has mono and diglycerides in it.
So, because that's the thing, right? This is look at that, man. Fully hydrogenated palm oil. That's the Crisco, man. It's soybean oil and fully hydrogenated oil. So what they do, this is basically fat. This is how you make fat, but with vegetables. All right, this is like fake fat. All right, and then you tell me that fat is just put some fat in there, man. The company also back there started made sure started added eggs almost like them, feel like they have an input to actually. That's it. You know what? That's the theory, man. That they made them put in the eggs so they can feel like they're doing something. That's not a bad theory, by the way. Like if you feel like, I didn't do anything, I'm just putting water in there, I'm just mixing it and baking it. It's almost like I don't add my actual like little bit of. You know what makes it mine kind of thing, you know? You always want to make it yours. Eastern Europeans lemon cake. The Polish shop near my okay, lemon cake, man. Lemon cake in bed. I don't know how it's going to look like, but yeah. Fat with extra steps, exactly.
Those are an emulsifier. So it works well because that helps to stabilize and get more air whipped into the shortening phase.
And indeed, we see mono and diglycerides mentioned right here on the Duncan Hines box. There's other emulsifiers you can buy, like soy. He has this
video about palm oil. Palm oil is very interesting as well. That's the whole thing. It's like they use it because it's basically emulsifies. It's fat, basically.
But what are the odds that you're going to come
naturally
up with a better formula
instead of Crisco?
All of the highly paid.
Because Crisco is hydrogenated. They put hydrogen molecules in it to make it fatty, so it will be shelf stable for a long time. You know, that thickness, so you can use it in making soap. And that's why palm oil is in everything. It's in soap and products and all that shit. Because it's basically like fat, cheap fat. It's cheap fat, boys.
Highly educated
you like cheesecake?
Scientists that they have working at ConAgra.
I do like me some cheesecake,
thousands
man.
and thousands and thousands of experiments to nail
We're watching random bits? Yeah, man.
That gets you a perfectly reliable cake every single time. Science.
Watching a few random vids here.
Now let's talk about
if you have anything interesting, make sure to send it, man. And if you want me to check something or some news or anything that way we could check before we start playing. 8-Ball, do you like cheesecake? I won't recommend it.
Box tells us to add our own veg oil, but the solid fat, the shortening, is already in the box. Shortening is great because it has a long shelf life. It doesn't have any water in it like butter.
Exactly, long shelf life. All right.
Dr. Miller says the problem with shortening is that it breaks foams, the air bubbles that we're talking about, but science has a solution.
all the dry ingredients and the shortening go through this cake finisher, which kind of just smears the shortening on the flour particles. So if you take a cake mix and you kind of like grab a handful and squeeze it, it'll kind of stick together. That's why, because of the shortening. So that's how they get enough fat for great flavor and soft texture.
Shit, this is what I'm saying. It's all in the fat, boys. And then you're telling me animal products ain't good. Get out of here, man.
Because it's done that way. Because if they just had free shortening, then it will break the foam and you won't be able to get as much air whipped in.
And now we come to the flour itself.
Okay.
Box cakes are typically what bakers call high ratio cakes, meaning that they actually have more sugar in them than flour because A, people like sugar, B, because really sweet cakes.
This has more sugar than flour in it? Are you serious right now? All right, awesome. Did you send it on Discord?
For longer, and the shortening helps with that too.
Yeah, send it on Discord, man.
Really sweet cakes are stronger structurally. You can build multi-layer cakes out of them without.
You can check out the Satisfactory stuff,
and the bites will be less crumbly on your fork.
So when you have a high ratio cake which has so much sugar, then the flour used for that is typically chlorine treated. So what the chlorine does is it changes the properties of the starch in the flour.
Chlorine?
So it oxidizes the starch, and that changes how the starch is able to absorb water.
This is the thing, yeah. You don't think about this, but industrialization, boys. This is what's happening with your food, with everything you do. You think like, oh man, I'm just gonna go and just get no industry, man. Science and shit, man.
It can now soak up and hold a lot more water.
And those oxidized starches.
Yeah, there's like literally professional doctors, people who live their whole lives. Their expertise are, how can I make a better box cake, man?
Holding everything together in a nice structural mesh and preventing the cake from collapsing under the weight of the sugar, the water,
and you think it's just about trying different ingredients and stuff. No, they literally look at the molecules and the way they bind and all that stuff. It's crazy, dude.
Any additional layers that you're putting on top. The flour has also been milled more finely than normal flour, probably through a process called pin milling.
So after they make the flour, they'll put it through a special little mill with little.
Why does that matter? Why does it matter to make it thinner, though?
Pins that really break down the particle size, so it's a very, very fine particle size. And if you kind of feel it, it would just feel real silky.
Why though?
That again helps the flour to gel in the water and create that superior structural mesh to hold all the other ingredients.
Okay, superior structural mesh.
Milled chlorinated cake flour at the store.
Bleached?
But again, an army of lab coats have specifically formulated the flour in here to work synergistically with all of the other ingredients in here.
Exactly.
What are the odds that you're going to top them? And indeed, even though very few will publicly admit to it, some professional cake bakers do use boxed cake mixes.
I mean, he said it, right? Hundreds and hundreds of people just sitting around trying to make better cake, man. You think, like, why wouldn't you use a box? Why? It's like, oh man, I'm gonna do some art. Why would I use a better tool to make something better? Why wouldn't I use it? It's like, oh no, man, you're cheating. Dude, I'm producing a better product, right? This level of like artistry, even when it comes to baking and making art or making videos or whatever, it's like, what is the product? Is it better or is it not? If it's better, why not? If it's easier, if it's cheaper, it's more consistent. I don't know, dude. Okay. You find the more surface area it has. Cake is complicated. It is, man. It's super complicated. It's chemistry basically. Like they measure things by the gram when you make it. But tasty?
At least as a base, they might add additional.
All right, we'll watch that video,
man.
man.
Dr. Miller does at home. My baker friend Adriana says a box cake can be a huge time saver in a commercial context. It just takes a sec to mix and it bakes faster, probably because it's less dense. But she says there are some styles of cake that should never be made from a box, like say pound cake. Pound cake is supposed to exhibit the opposite of all of these traits that we get from a box.
It's supposed to be more dense, and I love the crust.
I love me some pound cake. You guys like some pounding cakes?
Don't give you that. Box cakes have a very thin kind of film on top, but it's not a true crust like a scratch cake.
But let's assume for the sake of argument that your goal is to create a cake with the characteristics of a box cake, something that's light, fluffy, and very sweet. Is there any reason in that case to not bake from a box? Is it cheating? There's a famous historical anecdote about this. Lots of cake mixes used to have dehydrated eggs in them. All you had to do was add water.
This is the point you were talking about, right? They already have dehydrated eggs. There you go. That's the thing.
Then in the mid-20th century, a famous psychologist and marketing expert named Ernest Dichter suggested that manufacturers...
His name is Ernest Dichter. Man, this man is, he's true to his colors.
...should try leaving out the eggs.
He knows his shit.
That way, housewives would feel less like they were cheating. There'd still be some work for them to do. So that's what the manufacturers did, and then sales skyrocketed.
Damn.
At least that is the story. Reality is probably a little more complicated than that. If you want to know more, I recommend this book by food historian and journalist Laura Shapiro.
Something from the oven?
Description.
Let me go read a whole book about this. Thanks, man.
But anyway, the moral opposition to cake mixes is an example of what I would
But
call
I'm interested,
the
though.
feeling of virtue without the substance of virtue. Hardship, self-sacrifice, these are virtuous things when we do them in service of a cause, like, say, someone else's well-being. Like if I go hungry so that my kids can have food to eat, that's virtuous.
You can make lower calorie cake, I guess, but come on, you're eating
cake.
cake, exactly.
This is not a hypothetical scenario.
It's not a diet.
Right now. I want more of that cake so bad. It feels virtuous because virtue often involves denying yourself something that you want. But for whom am I sacrificing?
Interesting. Virtue is often denying something that you want. Denying yourself something that you want. Interesting.
Cause am I serving? The cause is purely my own vanity, and I don't think that's virtuous. I mean, I don't think it's bad
vanity,
either. It just is. Likewise, I don't think there's any real virtue in making your own dinner or dessert the hard way. It's merely the feeling, the illusion of virtue. So, if I want a cake with these characteristics, I was
like, no, man, I'm not gonna go buy some fresh chicken. I'm not gonna go buy some butchered chicken. I'm gonna go find myself a chicken, and I'm gonna butcher it, and I'm gonna cook, because that's how you do it, man. Otherwise, it's cheating, right? You're just buying the chicken off. No, man. You're gonna travel the world to go get some cumin and black pepper and shit. No.
Baking from a box. But I don't always want a cake with these characteristics. In fact, I really preferred Adriana's scratch version of that cookies and cream cake. And yes, the recipe for that cake will be my next release. I'm so grateful that Adriana was willing to share her hard-earned cake skills with me. And guess what? There's a whole website like that, full of people like that. It's called Skillshare. It's an online community where
Skillshare, man, I used it a couple of times. Ain't gonna lie.
That you can use to enrich,
you can learn some stuff, man.
Even change your life. As much as I clearly believe in the value of YouTube tutorials, Skillshare classes are much more than that.
Let me share this guy's video, dudes.
They're interactive. You have assignments.
Go check them out.
They're structured. You're not adrift, cobbling together bits from this source and that source. Some people learn well like that, but most people learn better in a structured environment with a logical flow.
Check out my dude's video, give him a like.
Than cake. You want to learn how to design user
I'm not subscribed to him? What? I watched like a million videos. I forgot. There we go. Subscribe.
Intro to UX class. She's one of the world's experts in this stuff.
So your project in this class is to conduct your own usability evaluation.
You get her class and thousands more Skillshare classes with your membership. It's unlimited, and you get 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free by using my link in the description, and after that it's just $10 a month for an annual subscription. It's a steal. It's a new year, and a new skill can bring all kinds of new things to your life.
True,
sure has for mine.
I was thinking about this last night, man. There's so many things I can get to. What if I want to become a masseuse, or I want to get into some crazy stuff, man? All right, nice video. Appreciation. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. There we go. We gotta be watching this video now. It's Chicago famous cake shake, Portillo setup. What? Okay, let's get into it then.